Hello, this is Scott Loomis, and this is my Why Wixie is the Perfect Middle School Productivity Tool video. My name, as I said, was Scott Loomis. I work for Tech for Learning. I'm a regional manager. And back in the olden days, when I was much younger, had much more hair, I actually was a middle school teacher for 3 years, teaching both math and reading. And although Wixie is primarily viewed as an elementary tool, I actually think its wheelhouse may be not only the intermediate grades in elementary school, but definitely middle school. The new interface update from the summer of 2021 is a more sophisticated look to the program. The tools and features, there are a number of them that are just ideal for obtaining meaningful and rigorous assessments from the students. Now, I'm not bursting anybody's bubble or upsetting them, but a reality check here, if you're a PowerPoint junkie and your kids are doing PowerPoints and not doing oral presentations, I mean, if a kid can take 6 words and talk about it for 60 seconds, that's brilliant. That's high-level retention, understanding, comprehension, the whole 9 yards. But I see a lot of teachers who do PowerPoints and just stop. And the paragraphs, I got to admit, you can write for a purpose, information, literacy, experience, you name it. But at some point, the kids are not engaged and motivated. And we know this middle school age can be a little goofy in the way they work and respond. And we want to engage them, and we want to challenge them to demonstrate their knowledge at involving higher level thinking skills. And Wixie does just that. Now, if you're new to Wixie, you're looking to kind of figure out the whole program, this probably isn't your video. This is kind of a teaser for middle school, focusing on just a handful of tools and features, as well as some management options for teachers within Wixie that are applicable for this age group. So let's get right to it. First, I'm going to return to the home section. And this is, I'll come back to it, but this is where you can manage your projects, create folders, access templates. But first, I want to look at just opening up a brand new template. So I go into new, and I'm going to just grab a landscape. It maximizes the workspace because our laptops and monitors and screens, tablets, or whatever, they're in a landscape view. So we're going with landscape. Storyboard along the left, adding pages down here on the left, changing the name. I'm going to do I'm happy to go to a spring scene, or maybe it's from a story. Should have done novel, maybe Tuck Everlasting or something. Go ahead and grab text objects, adding images, adding a video, an audio recording we'll talk about, but draw tools over here. I should also point out, but I'm not going into detail, that kids can work in collaborative teams. And this is quite awesome. I mean, if you want your kids to do something, especially with the audio recording tool, involving interviews or public service announcements or a newscast, having them do that in partners can be a pretty neat opportunity, especially if you outline who's going to do what or what the team process consists of. And this is a great way, especially if any of this coming school year involves, again, more virtual instruction, as an entirety, having them work with each other even though if they're not physically together at the same time. So back to that record tool, the kids can only invite members of their section to join them in the project. So I would have one child, like be the team captain, so to speak, open up a new page and share it with their colleagues. So not another section in the building, not another school in the district or another school in another state or country, just the 25 or so kids in their section. And then what one child does on one computer would show up on the other computer, instantaneous. So it's real-time sharing. But do the recordings, as I mentioned, with the interviews, the public service announcements, and I'll show the record tool in just a second. But first, I want to just make you aware that, yes, there is a paint tool component. In fact, it's kind of the backbone. I think most kids need to be able to draw some basic stuff. Paint tools are paint tools. A paintbrush, fill bucket, doing that. Now, some of you, especially your art teachers, may say, well, I need more than, 14 colors or something? In this program, arrows mean options. So if I choose the arrow, it gives me, in this case, the 1,000,000-point color, kind of spectrum. I would also have choices for different brush strokes. So an art teacher can easily have kids do anything from cubism to smudging, by the way, so for watercolors. And then they could even add an audio recording explaining what artistic style they emulated, what they liked about it. So art teachers in middle school, I think, are one of the fastest growing groups of users of Wixie because they realize the kids can do a whole lot from home if they don't have the supplies. But I want to go for brown, make it a little bigger to a tree. And this is my typical nature season. I talked about spring. Maybe it should have been a fall scene, but I'm not going to draw leaves. I can look at my various tools, shapes or whatnot. Lines for, math. You're doing the lines, line segments, and rays. You can easily do plane geometry, do that on here. And what's great is I can undo mistakes. Spray. No, I'm not going to spray those. Arrows mean options. There's a nature one here, and let's get some fall leaves in here. Again, do I want itty bitty leaves? No. I can undo it down here at the bottom, or leave it. I was just going to paint over it, but I can also do some big leaves. So I have a tree now. Let's say I was doing Tuck Everlasting. So I'm going to go into the image library, and under our image tab, there are over 10,000 stickers. Most stickers appear in multiple folders, so your kids are good enough to search through people to find a person or whatever. But if I wanted to find like Tuck, I could just do a search for boy. Spelling does count. It's a search engine after all. Boy. Maybe that boy? I don't know. Is he Tuck enough for me? Well, good enough. And Tuck's the father. I'm so sorry. I can't even remember the name of the two boys in that family. But I could bring in a picture. I could go get a full body one, bring him in. One of the easiest things to do is to add call-out bubbles, by the way. So if you want to do more like graphic novels, hello, I still can't remember, so I should have gone with a man. My name is Tuck, and I think I will live forever. Forever. There it is. So you can, with a text object, resize the box, and the font will change to fill the space, so it gets smaller and larger. Because you've selected a text box, just like when you do a sticker, the options will change specific to it. So I can easily say bubble, and oh, that lined up nice, but I could also do like thinking bubble or banners or whatnot. That was good with the regular one. And move it over and center it. So if you wanted the kids to do graphic novels, comic books, how to convert an improper fraction of a mixed number, maybe it's something, a debate on cloning, and you're going to do this, you do not, let me go find the lines again, do need to partition this page. How terrible is that? 4 sections. The kids just need to do multiple pages, and then you can choose the storyboard view, such as, when I go to File and Print, such as booklet or comic book. You can even do trading cards. If you have one single card, you can duplicate it, which would be a choice here to duplicate it. So your kids could do trading cards on like elements from the periodic table and trade with each other, or vocabulary words, or maybe a social studies unit or whatnot. So they do have the option to do different print things using the text objects. And again, I love the graphic novels. I think they're very engaging. But those tend to take a little bit more time than audio recordings. So check it out. This is how the audio recording works. And the type B person in me wants to, or type A, wants to get rid of the lines. Much better. So how do the audio recordings work? First, each student can add a single audio file to each page, and that recording can last up to 5 minutes in length. 5 minutes for page 1, 5 minutes for page 2, a new recording on page 3 for 5 minutes. So your students have a rich opportunity to A, ramble, or B, which I think they're going to do more of, follow some type of script. Now, they don't have to write the script word for word, but they need to know, as if they were doing a presentation, what they need to say on each page and the content they need to cover based on assessment criteria that you've established. So we're going to do recordings. For instance, I look at U.S. history in middle school. They typically cover like the branches of the government. So, you can actually bring in a picture of the Supreme Court or the White House and say, I'm standing in front of the White House here. As many of you know, this is the home of the executive branch of the government, which has powers in our checks and balance system. And that's page 1. The students do a new page, or you just duplicate this one. Duplicate, and then just do a new recording, so they don't have to keep redrawing. But it allows the kids, again, to do something with their knowledge. In this case, it's almost an infomercial. Maybe you do want to do that more public service announcement. But think about, for instance, the most dreaded question your kids probably receive in math class, and that's to explain their mathematical thinking. And this is algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, any kind of problem solving. And if it's a worksheet, I don't know why, but they think 2 lines is enough on the bottom of a ditto for kids to explain their mathematical thinking. I mean, I don't know who made up this as a great idea, but you could easily add a new page, bring that paintbrush, down real small, and I can begin to do work. So again, especially if it's like a touchscreen, I can convert this improper fraction to a mixed number, and then I can add a recording explaining the process I used to solve this. Anytime they're doing any kind of problem solving, or any other subject area as well. Maybe it's a science experiment. Because one of the things you can do under image is capture a picture. Here you get to see me. I'm looking good. No, I'm not. But they could take a picture of the science experiment and then add an audio recording on top. Or if they want to, they can do it with the video as well. And this is a start, 5 minutes per page. And again, this could be them walking around with the camera and kind of taking images of things that they're working on. Could be at home. They could dress up as a historical figure, or again, a character as a novel, and do a live, whatever you want to do, kind of a video as well, that newscast. So you have the option to do the still sounds or still pictures with audio recordings, the sound, or a video, and both can be very engaging for kids as they look to apply, or you look to have them apply their knowledge meaningfully. So those are two huge ones, the recording and the video, as well as, in conjunction with the team tool. And I love the graphic novels. I think that students, definitely need to look at doing that. I think for many, it can be highly engaging, the comic book style work for this group. Now, for the most part, you will see students create new projects, but in order to better manage things, you may want to examine, especially with virtual learning, you may want to examine our templates, or even create a blank template that you assign to the students so you can take advantage of the management options within Wixie. So first, there are over 3,000 existing templates in here, and you as a 7th grade teacher would not see, for instance, if I go into language arts and reading and alphabetic principle, and I change the view from grid to storyboard, you're not going to see these templates for K and 1. They just won't show up. So just know that some, you won't see all 3,000. You'll see the ones that are tagged to the grade level you work. And it's the same thing for a kindergartner. They aren't going to see 7th grade ones listed. If you find a template that you like, and I go, as that former math teacher, I've actually created a number of project-based learning templates. So I went to algebra. I created this bead factory template, which is a little bit of a pre-algebra indicator. If I like this as a teacher looking at the assignments exactly as it is, I can assign it straight away. Or you can get your own copy and customize it. Now, when you click assign, it's this basic window. What classes, how many kids, when do you want them to see it? It's all fairly straightforward. Now, just for fun, I'm going to say all classes, 3rd grade, and I'm going to say today is the first 8, which means when I press save, they will instantly receive it. So if you're having one of those days, it's a quick save. If not, plan ahead. This is going to be next Monday or the 16th or whatever you want. So I'm going to press save. Now, after I introduce to the students and have them open it up, you should know that under your assignments tab, here's the assignment. I can go into it and I can look at the 3rd grade class. Not a single kid has opened it up yet. I mean, come on. I just asked everyone to open it up 60 seconds ago. And I know this probably happened this past year. It's been so interesting with the virtual instruction. Is the kid really there or not? Do they log on and go away? So at very least, you can see that they've opened the file. And they can actually, from the file menu, say mark as complete when they're done. So if you have an assignment that came out on Monday and it's due on Friday, kids can actually turn it in early if they want to by marking it as complete. So this would say started, and then complete would be the different options here. So this will let you at least see if they're working on it. The student tab, which is here, has you go in and actually look at their work. Pull down menu again for all your classes. But you'll be able to open up their work, see what they've done, and Wixie updates automatically, so it saves automatically. Every 15 to 20 seconds, every automatic save, you would get a new version of this file. So if you want to see what they're doing as time goes through the class, you could easily monitor it that way as well. But you take a look at the work, you can mark it as complete so they can't change it anymore, and then leave a feedback for them to see on the side of the project when they open it up and view it. So the templates are nice because you can organize them, or you can access them, assign them, or modify them, customize them. You can share within your own building, or maybe even access district templates if they've been posted by someone in C&I, and then view and comment student work. You can easily, if you're in a project, for instance, oh, that's not the project. I got to go into my projects. You can, if you want to, after you've customized your own, just highlight the URL. I just copied it. Unfortunately, it looks like my video recorder doesn't cover the URL. You can copy and share the URL to them, and they can open up the template. You would simply not have the management choices as far as started, completed, and things like that you would by doing an assignment in Wixie. So I really think that Wixie has a ton of potential for middle school teachers, particularly for students to engage and creatively share. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I think it ventures from everybody from your math and social studies class, of course, to science and literature, but art, music. I didn't even go into the cool stuff that you can do with instruments. I mean, there's the scales and notation symbols. Kids can write their own songs and record themselves playing it. It's super cool. You get artifacts beyond that anecdotal observation. This way, if parents of your students aren't too keen on what you graded, you can always produce an artifact and say, well, this is what they did. Do you think it's worth an A? Don't do that. That could get you in trouble. But you know what I'm saying. You have the proof to kind of help support your assessment of it compared to just your observation. If you have any further questions, you saw the first page, or my first page did have my emails here. Please don't hesitate to contact me, as I'd be happy to help. Thank you and have a wonderful day.